Hello everyone, what's up and welcome back to another video. I'm quite excited for this one. As you can tell by the title, we are doing the November hopefuls. Also, I will be participating in the Readathon. It is a readathon that is hosted by Donna mariereads and Manda the Biblia over on YouTube. If you want more information, I will link their pages down below, but it's basically a readathon that aims to thin out your TBR. And I've been participating in these read-alongs for quite some time now. They're quite fun for me, and yeah, I can't believe it is the last one of the year. So before we get started, please remember to like the video, subscribe, and comment down below if there are any readathons you were taking part in this month. And let's just jump right into the video. So I'm just gonna jump right in, tell you what the prompts are, tell you what I'm going to choose for it, because yeah, it's a short video. It's just what I plan to read this month, so I don't think it has to be too complicated. The first prompt is the shortest book on your TBR, and for that I chose Die Volume 3, which is basically about a group of kids who, when they were young, were playing this role-playing game, and then they got sucked into the world that they were playing. 10 years later, they emerge with one person missing, and they have like missing arms, they have PTSD, that kind of things, and nobody can say where the other person is. They made this pact that says they can't talk about it, and then 20 years later, one of the characters receives a die for their birthday, and they have to go back to the world to, I don't know, either save the person who they left there, or I don't know what the plan is. The idea behind this game is you have to finish the whole game before you can go back to the real world. And if it took them 10 years before, it's concerning to see how long it will take them now. Even though they know the trajectory that the story has to go, there's always different choices that you can make, obviously, in a role-playing game that will change the direction of the story. And to top it all off, each of these characters also has family, they have priorities, they have things that they need to take care of, so they are pushing to play this game quickly instead of it lasting over 10 years or longer like the first time. But the problem is, will they be able to succeed? I'm sure they will. I mean, there should be a good, what is a good ending towards this? I don't know, but in the last book that I remember, the good character turned bad, and I was like, oh, I'm here for it, so I'm quite excited to dive into the rest. That was a long-winded explanation for this book, so sorry about that. I like it. And this book will also fulfill the prompt, a book that you haven't heard anyone else talk about. I know Becca from Becca and the Books mentioned the first book, but I haven't heard her talk about the third book, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about them, so there you have it. The next prompt is read a book that someone else chooses, and for that I'm gonna go with Zodiac Academy number 3. I forgot what the name of the book is, but my bestie chose this book for us to read next month, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Since we're anyway continuing with the Zodiac Academy series, I thought I would put that in there because she was initially the one who decided that we were going to read the series. The next prompt is to read the 11th book on your shelf. I tried this shelf, but most of the 11th book, because I counted each shelf, they are like in series and like in the middle of the series, and I don't want to do that. So I ended up with this shelf, and what I landed on was 1984 by George Orwell. And this is basically a dystopian novel. It heavily inspired The Hunger Games. I don't know a lot about it. All I know, it's a classic. And I see a lot of people rave about it. I also love the cover. It's just so, I don't know, very interesting. I have been dying to get into this book, and the fact that the prompt was to read the 11th book and I landed on it, I see it as a sign. The next prompt is to read a book with a full item on the cover. I was looking so hard for one. I was like, what is an item for fall? I know leaves, cup of coffee, fire, and I was just like, thinking a sweater, maybe, now that I think about it. I can't even think of anything else, but it's fine because I chose Legend by Karina Hall. This is the second book in a duology that is basically a retelling of the Sleepy Hollow story, but this is a book about a witch in training who is destined to marry one of her best friends, but on the night or just before they are going to get married or something, he runs away. She can't find him, and now she's being sent to a witchy school where she meets Professor Ichabod Crane, and these two cook up a romance, and suddenly she also discovers that her best friend who ran off came back, and now she's like, why should I choose between the two? And you know, it's just that kind of pull between the two characters, and she feels like she has to be with her best friend because, I mean, it's her best friend. They were destined to marry because their parents organized the marriage, but at the same time she's drawn to Ichabod Crane and everything he's doing, that kind of thing. So Karina Hall has a very easy writing style for me, and I just love reading through her books, so I'm dying to get into this book. The next prompt is to read a book that is next in the series, and I'm so happy that this was one of the prompts because next month my bestie and I are reading Goldfinch by Reuben Kennedy. This is the last book in the Place a Prisoner series, and this follows a golden-skinned girl named Oren, and she is going through an adventure of finding herself, basically. I think I've spoke about the series for a long time last year, so yeah. Anyway, for those of you who don't know what it is, really dive into it. For those of you who know what the story is about, I'm reading the last book. The next prompt is to read a book that has been on your shelves for more than 2 years. You know, I could choose a myriad of these, but I decided to go with Everything and Everything by Nicola Yoon. This has been on my TBR for quite some time now. I'm not gonna re-explain what this is about. I think everyone knows what it is about, and there's also a movie out, so, you know, that's fine. The next prompt is to complete a reading challenge, and I've been using Uncover app to, you know, like go through challenges, and one of the challenges that I know I'm not going to read unless I use this prompt is a college romance, and I am finally diving into Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I've seen a lot of people rant and rave about this series, and I was like, I'm suffering from FOMO, so I want to also read a romance because I usually focus more on fantasy than on romance, but I think this will be a good one. So, and I think it's about a girl who's an ice skater and the guy who's in an ice hockey team, and they have a rivalry going on because they can only use one rink at the same time, and you know, it's kind of like enemies to lovers, but usually in romance it's rivals to lovers, that kind of thing. But yeah, I've seen good reviews. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, but I've also seen very good reviews, so I want to dive into that one. I swear this readathon is actually the best readathon for me because it's just like, listen, I have plans for you to thin out your TBR, obviously, and also to read the books that you have been putting off. So leading in with that, the next prompt is a book that you've been putting off, and it's Spellbound by Kelly Armstrong. This has been on my TBR since the first readathon, and I've been wanting to get to this book, but at the same time I was like, it's so close to the ending of the series and I don't want it to end. But you know, I guess you have to bite the bullet anyway and finish the series. I've been dragging the series out for years on end, so I think it's time for me to finish it and to jump into another one. This is about a private investigator who's also a witch, whose name is Evie Levine. I lie. Her name's Savannah Levine. She is now currently in danger because she's in the middle of like a murder investigation, and apparently, according to the police, she's the prime suspect, even though she was trying to help the people in the previous book. So it's a tough situation, so I'm really dying to get into it. It's just I'm scared because it's leading up to the last book, and I have premonitions of the last book, and I just don't. Okay, we've been over this. I just don't want to. The next prompt is a book that you want to read before 2025, and I'm going to choose Circus of the Damned by Laurel K. Hamilton. This is the third book in the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series. We follow Anita, who's an animator and a vampire hunter, and she gets a lot of requests where she has to revive people's loved ones, and she usually lands up in danger because she's very, like, if she doesn't like something, she won't agree to do it, and this usually puts her in danger, puts her family in danger, not her family, but her friends and all of that kind of jazz. It's a very fun urban fantasy series, and if you like urban fantasy that's not too difficult to follow, I think you would like this. It's also got vampires, so, you know, vampires, zombies, some weird animals, I don't know. The first one was a bit weird, but you get into it. The next prompt is to read a book with the title that has word only in it, and I believe this is for the Buzzword Readathon. I can't remember what Donna said, but I think it is that. And the only one I could get was the one Donna had on her TBR list, and that was Only a Monster. And I forgot who wrote it because, you know, I don't plan ahead. Anyway, but I think this is about a girl who is a monster and who falls in love with a guy who's a monster hunter. I could be wrong. I could so be wrong, but I didn't want to read the description, so. Then the next prompt is up for debate. Like, I wonder if you can hear that. Oi. Like, I don't like chasing birds away, but damn, I'm almost done. And now you have to have your say. I don't know if you can hear the other one. He's in the trees, but he's also screaming. Anyway, the next prompt, which is also the last prompt, is kind of up for debate. Like, I did put a book there, but it might change depending on how Spellbound goes. So the first book that I think will fit this prompt is Solstice of the Drowned Empire, which is the prequel to Daughter of the Drowned Empire. And this is basically a Greek / Roman Egyptian inspired fantasy series about this girl who is the only princess who will be able to carry her kingdom. But the problem is that she has this power that nobody understands, I believe. And it's like a really dark power. So now she's training as like a warrior for the kingdom, while she's also trying to look after her two sisters, whose secret she's been hiding from everyone. So the only people who know about these issues surrounding the kingdom is her dad, her two sisters, and herself. They made a pact that if she tells anyone else, she might die. So, you know. And I believe this book just follows how the Drowned Empire came to be. That's boring. But I think there's like a lot more into the story. I don't know. Who knows? But I really like the first book. So I thought before continuing with the rest of the series, I would like a backstory of what actually happened. And then the other book that I think would really fall into this is 13 by Kelly Armstrong. As I say, that depends on how Spellbound ends and if I have the heart to continue and end the series. So this might also be there. This brings back all the other characters that we've been reading about. I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I'm scared because I don't know what plans Kelly Armstrong has for some of the characters. And I hope some of the characters don't die. I'm very nervous. Very, 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 very nervous. That is it for this video. I don't know why I have so much energy. I think it's because I got an energy drink. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below which of these books you think I need to start with first. I'll see you guys in the video next week. Bye.